Okay, well,
Am I next?
I don't know. I think so, but I just want to personally say thanks to everybody that came today that is interested and going to ask questions and want to learn. I really appreciate that. And to the people on Zoom. We're pretty excited about Earnnest. With the ever increasing issues with wire fraud, we're happy to set this up so that people have a much safer way of paying earnest money that's not through a wire. And yeah, just welcome to Jackson Rood. He is going to tell us anything that we ever needed to know about Earnnest.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Brianna's gonna also stay and just help assist. Now he's been with Earnnest for 18 months and he's been training it. You guys, this avoids so many issues and is actually very safe, right?
Yes.
And so you're welcome to just go for it. She's gonna give you access right now to share
Okay,
screen.
perfect.
So
Yep.
you can just start with introducing yourself. Should be good to go. in a
While
minute.
that's loading for you guys in the room, I'm not sure if people on the internet can hear me here, but my name is Jackson. I work here with Earnnest. We're a digital earnest money platform. We've been around for about 4 or 5 years now. We are the largest digital earnest money platform here in the US. A little bit of history. We were started by an agent in South Carolina. Had to drive about 45 minutes in the rain, pick up a soggy earnest money check, and he really didn't like that process. So much so that he built an entire company around avoiding that. So some of the benefits that we'll cover today, you'll see it's really easy for you guys to use, right? You can do it from your desktop through DotLoop or just through your mobile phone. And we'll cover all those different ways to generate a request. But more importantly to that is the safety aspect of it. You guys are familiar with how frequent wire fraud is here in the US. Over 70% of wire fraud victims don't get all their money back. And check fraud is on the rise as well. We even have a case study on our website, young lady in South Carolina where we were founded, dropped her earnest money check off at a brokerage. Bad actor got their hands on it and used her earnest money check to drain her bank account down to $0. So we have her testimony on the website as well. I'll show you guys where to find that. But we're going to be just going through the whole thing. I'm going to teach you guys how to generate a request, how to track that request as an agent. And I'll of course show you how the buyer is going to interact with that as well. Do we know if the screen share? If not, I can keep talking for a little bit.
You can keep talking.
I also, guys, I left some cards over there for you guys. Please feel free to utilize that. I know people don't always like to ask questions sort of in a meeting. So my email and my phone number is on there. For those of you on Zoom, I will be trying to watch the chat as best I can as well. So I'll try my best to answer the questions of everybody in this room and the questions in the chat too. We'll
And
show.
I can help watch that for you.
Yeah. Do you know for, sorry guys, you just have to look at me for a little while.
That's okay.
It is very nice out here today, isn't it? You guys have a lot of awards in this room too. You guys are
We do.
pretty impressive.
We do have a lot of awards.
Pretty
We're
impressive.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, so this view is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I work from home and I don't have a view anything like this. This is pretty special.
So you're looking for a home with a view?
Yeah.
There you go. Opportunity right there. Only if we close it with Earnnest. Yeah, not on my salary. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, maybe with those new 100% loans.
Yeah.
We'll give it another few minutes here, guys. Actually, you know what? Let me try something here. Let me switch over and see. Is there a camera pointing at this screen for those online? Okay, then I may be able to do this without screen share, guys. So this is our website. I'll go ahead and jump in just since, like you said, people online should be able to see this without me sharing my screen. This is our website. This is going to be the starting point for anybody that's trying to generate an earnest money request. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Wanted to show you guys this Earnnest with 2 N's. Earnnest with 1 N is I think a student debt forgiveness website. If you need to use that, that's cool. But Earnnest with 2 N's is what we're going to be on today. A couple of different things. If you ever want to generate your earnest money request through our website, there's a sign-in oval right here. Feel free to utilize that.
I'm taking your access for 1 second.
Okay. Well, you won't be able to see the next thing I was going to show you.
Okay, just pause 1 second. We're just trying to get you access to share. 1 second.
Sorry.
Wait, are you from Utah or South Carolina?
I'm from Georgia.
Oh, Georgia.
Yep.
Oh, hunker down, go down. Have you heard that before? I have
Yeah.
plans to go back to Georgia.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I'm from Georgia all the way on the coast, so pretty far away from Utah, but how could you not want to move out here? So I'm definitely appreciating heat without humidity.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh,
All right, round two.
you are good to go.
Thank you, guys.
Or at least I hope so.
Yeah, that should be good.
Here, I'll do it.
I'm becoming
I got
very
it.
tech savvy here.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm learning a lot.
Pretty bird. All right, let's try that again. Let me share my screen with those on Zoom so they have a better opportunity to take a look at everything. Share screen. All right, now we should all be working together. Sorry about that, guys. So again, what I wanted to cover, sign in oval in the right-hand side there if you want to do it through our website. A couple of other things, partners. We're going to be going through our DotLoop integration today. From what I understand, a number of you guys are using DotLoop. If you go to the partners page, you can take a look at our different integrations. We're also integrated into like zip form and a few other different things. And if you ever want a refresh on our DotLoop integration, you can see that there as well. So that's where we'll start out. Like I said, we're going to be walking through how to generate a request through DotLoop through our mobile app. We're going to be walking through how to track that as the agent. There's two main ways that you can do that. And then I'll follow up with the buyer side of the equation as well, so you can get a 360 view of what Earnnest is going to be doing for you guys. So starting off with DotLoop, and I apologize, I'll have to come back to my computer for most of these things. You can see I have my loop open here. This is something that you guys are all familiar with. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner of this request, there is that send Earnnest request. That is our integration into DotLoop. We are fully integrated. You don't need to download anything or put any add-ons on. All you need to do to generate your request is click on that. It'll pull up a little bit of information about us, and it will bring you to this screen right here. This is the payment request. So when you log in, this is what you're going to see. And you can see there's already information here that's filled in. So if you have a ratified contract in your loop, automatically the buyer's information is going to pull right in to your Earnnest money request. So you're going to see the buyer's name pull in, their contact information is going to pull in, the Earnnest money amount in the contract is going to pull in, and of course the property address that they're trying to purchase is going to pull in as well. So what do you have to do as the agent? All you need to do is select the escrow holder where you want the funds held. So for you guys, that's going to look like searching. I'm going to type in EVER. It's kind of like Netflix, a smart search filter. Start typing in any unique part of the name and it shows up there. And then all you have to do is click on it. You don't need to know the account or routing numbers for your account. You're going to click two check boxes, just ensuring DotLoop that you are at the right phase in the contract if you're requesting Earnnest money. And then you would select request payment down there at the bottom. Now this is a live request, so I'm not going to click that button. But you can see that is how straightforward it is for you to generate that request. You're going to sign in your loop. You're going to select your escrow holder, and you're going to click request at the bottom of the screen. Any questions about generating it in DotLoop? Again, we're going to cover the phone app. We're going to cover the desktop app. Any questions about DotLoop?
No, my daughter was over it.
Okay.
It'll probably get answered when we see the buyer side.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to go through the buyer side. Any questions specifically about requesting, finding in DotLoop? And it's okay if there's not. And I'm going to check the chat as well, guys. For those of you online, please feel free to throw something in the chat. But it looks like we're good. So I'm going to move on to the next one here. And that is requesting from our mobile app. So I'm going to switch my screen share here. Now, obviously, you guys are primarily DotLoop users, but I always recommend having our mobile app anyway. And there's two reasons for that. One, you guys are busy. You're not always at your computer, but you're always at your job. Sometimes you need to generate an Earnnest money request on the go. Well, you've got the mobile app download, pull it out, and in 60 seconds, you can do that wherever you are and go back to what it was you were doing. And the second reason I'll cover here at a minute. So we'll walk through the process. It's pretty simple. You're going to be inputting the same information, but you're going to be doing it manually. So you're going to click request payment at the bottom of the screen. It's going to ask you if you have the contact information of the buyer. Now, DotLoop will answer this automatically because that contact information will be in the loop. But on the app, it's going to ask you. And then you're going to click begin. And we're going to be inputting those 4 pieces of information that we saw in the loop. So you start typing in the address. Google Maps will help you out with this. It knows your location and it'll fill in the city, the state, and the zip code for you. Confirm that address and it'll move to the earnest money amount. Earnnest can move anything up to $100,000 in a single transaction. So that should cover most in this area. Not always, but most. So we'll put in an amount there that's in the contract and we'll click continue and we'll put in that payer's email address. Now you can do it manually, like I'm doing here, or you can have it pull from your contacts. And if you do that, you just click allow, select, and then move forward. And again, the same process for selecting the earnest money account. Now this is a demo environment. So the account we searched before, which was live, won't show up, but the process is exactly the same. I start typing in any unique part and it shows up right there. The nice thing about our app is you can see that it is showing up in my suggested. So once you search for it once in the app, it will always show up in your suggested, saving you even just a few more seconds. Lastly, trackability. Automatically as the requesting agent, you, the buyer on the equation, of course, and then your escrow account manager, whoever manages the escrow funds here, will be receiving emails letting you know that the request is generated. It'll let you guys know when the request is paid by the buyer, and we'll let you know when the request is deposited. So you're going to be kept in the loop automatically via emails, but you can see add recipient. If you want to add the lender, maybe the listing agent, home buyer spouse, something like that, you can add as many recipients to that chain as you want to. I've never met someone that was able to hit the limit. So you can do that by just clicking add recipient. We'll finish the setup. You'll have an opportunity to edit any of those details. And then you will swipe your finger across the bottom of your home screen. It will give you an error because this is a demo environment. Normally it will not in the live environment. And you've generated an earnest money request sitting in your buyer's inbox. And we'll cover that in a second. Sorry about the error. My simulator must be down, but don't worry, this is not connected to our live app in the App Store. But any questions about generating that request? You can see you're just manually putting in the same pieces of information. Now we're in the loop. But any questions about that before we move forward to tracking in the app? Okay, let me check the chat real quick, see if anybody had any questions in there. No, they did not. So let me back out of this. And let me show you the second reason I always recommend having the app downloaded. Now, I showed you, you're going to get those emails and you're going to be able to track it that way. But if you want, any request you generate, whether you generate it from DotLoop or the mobile app, is going to show up here on your home screen. And you can actually click into it and follow along as your buyer goes through each individual step of the process. So you'll be able to see the money move all the way throughout the transaction. You can see when the buyer enters, their account information, when they confirm their identity, when they hit pay, you can see when the funds actually leave their account. And of course, you can see when it's deposited. And it is all time and date stamped and updated live for you guys. So you never have to wonder, oh, where are the funds? You can always see exactly where they are. And it is updated again in real time. So that's trackability through the app. I'm going to show you what those emails look like, just so you can see and know what to expect as well. Give me 1 second while I move all this stuff out of the way. This is what those payment receipt emails are going to look like. Get this out of the way. There we go. It's going to let you know that your buyer paid that earnest money amount. It's going to give you a little synopsis at the top. And then all the pertinent details for proof of payment are going to show up in the bulk of the email here. And then if you would like, you can actually download this little PDF receipt and upload that to your loop so that you have proof of payment in your contract for you. Any questions about anything we've covered so far? Requesting in DotLoop, requesting in the app, tracking through the app, or tracking via email?
I have a question just
Yes.
from a brokerage standpoint.
Yes.
If I were to go to the app, download the app, would I be able to see those?
Yeah, so that's a great question. If you're the administrator on the escrow account, if you go to our website and sign in, you'll actually have a payments dashboard that will show everybody's payments.
I do have that, but the trackability, seeing where they're at in the process, or is that only agent specific?
That is agent specific. However, each of those steps is shown in the payments dashboard. It's just broken down a little bit differently. So it'll move across the board from paid to request it. And if you hover over that little I, it'll give you a little bit more detail on the time and date stamp of exactly when it moved across. And I'd be happy to review that payments dashboard at any time. But yes, you should have access, but not in the same level as the app.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do your clients have to download the app as well in order to?
No, that's a great question. So all your buyer has to do is have an email address and access to the internet. And we'll show you what that looks like here for their payment process, but they don't need to download anything and they don't need to go out of their way. This is easy for you guys, but it's also really easy for them as well.
Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
Do they still have to have a cell phone number that receives a code, or is that, will you cover that in the?
Yeah, so it depends. Sometimes we do multi-factor authentication, which would require them to have, you know, a cell phone and a cell phone number that can receive a text message code. If somehow they don't have that, chances are they probably don't want to use technology like this in the first place. But we can do it via email as well. So yeah, there is sometimes a two-factor authentication. And in fact, when you guys sign up for the first time, we'll use that as well. So hopefully all of you guys have working cell phone numbers. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
The identity verification process for the customer, is that pretty straightforward, easy to do, or is that like,
Yeah.
takes?
No, it's really quick. I'll let you see it here in a second. It's all just verifying via public information. So they're just gonna put in the last four of their social, their current address, and their date of birth. And as long as that matches up with a record of a real person, then they'll move on to the next phase. In an instance where maybe someone's a little sketchy, we do have a subsidiary thing that we do in which we have them take a picture of their license, but I haven't personally had to deal with anybody going all the way through that. So it is pretty straightforward.
Extent of it.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. No, very straightforward, and they can go through the whole process. There's no waiting while we verify. It's all in real time and instant for them. And in fact, why don't I move on and show you guys exactly what that looks like here. I'm going to switch over to our home buyer resource page. Actually, let me see this. We have a question in the chat there from Marissa. In order for us to send out the request, we do always need the buyer's cell phone, correct? No, you need the buyer's email address. It is probably going to ask you for the phone number, but I don't believe it's a requirement. But good question, Marissa. All right, so let me show you guys this. This is our buyer's resource page. This is something that we're giving you a little bit early access to. This will be released at the beginning of next month, but I'll make sure I drop it in the chat and see if I can't get everybody in here access to it as well. Sorry about that. This thing just fell out. We are a tech company, but we are not immune to me having technical difficulties. So those of you online can still see what's going on, but let's see if we can't get the people in the room to see it again. Just give it 1 second, guys. For those of you online, you can see what I'm talking about. All right, there we go. Digital earnest money, pay it digitally. Basically, we took over the last 4 years the common questions that we've had from home buyers and created a resource page that answers it in the most direct way with videos and walkthroughs. And so that's what we're actually going to watch today. Instead of taking you through a live payment, I'm just going to show you this quick video. It's 2 minutes. That's about how long it takes the buyer to pay. And that'll be a walkthrough of exactly what they're going to experience. So hopefully the volume in here is going to work. And it is not. Does anybody know how to get access to the volume in here? Anyway, what we'll do is we'll show that when we get the opportunity. Sorry for those of you guys online. Again, just going to walk you through the whole process. You'll be able to see it. Yeah, do we have
Do you want to play it, that switch on the wall normally does volume?
Yeah.
So play it and see it,
let's see it there.
but it's sensitive, so be careful. Another one? Alright, cool.
Let me change my computer volume settings here. Let's see if that doesn't help.
Good old college try.
The buyer will accept the request.
You guys can hear that through the computer.
There is no sensitive information in the email.
Let's start that over. All right, guys, here we go.
Let's take a look at the buyer's journey as they complete their payment. The buyer will accept the request in their email. There is no sensitive information in the email. We introduce Earnnest to the buyer and share just a little about our security and transparency, and give your buyers access to our support team should they have any questions about paying their Earnnest money. The button in their email will direct them to a secure page where your buyer will go through a two-step verification process. Once they create their account, they will review your request. Earnnest does not allow the buyer to edit or change any of the details of your request. Instead, if they find the details to be inaccurate, they will need to contact you for an updated payment request. If everything is correct, they will click "This is correct," which will lead them to the Buyer Hub. The Buyer Hub contains the details of the request, the buyer's name, the escrow holder, the earnest money amount, and a flat $15 processing fee to the buyer. There are two actions that the buyer will complete in the Buyer Hub. First, they will need to confirm their identity, and then they will connect their bank account. These two actions are what make Earnnest different from any other digital payment platform. We are verifying the buyer's identity in real time and confirming that they have sufficient funds to make the payment, protecting you and your buyer. The buyer will be prompted to select their online banking partner. Earnnest is connected to over 13,000 banks nationwide. If your buyer doesn't have online banking, they can manually enter their account and routing information. We never store or see the buyer's banking information. Using our secure system, Earnnest is completely removing the possibility of bounced checks, saving you valuable business days and a lot of headaches. Once your buyer's identity is confirmed and the proper amount of funds are available for payment, they can pay their earnest money.
All right, so a couple of things I want to highlight about that. One, you can see that was pretty quick, straightforward. Next, you saw that buyer verification, right? Pretty straightforward. So when you guys came on as a company with us, we verified not only your escrow account, but your organization. And now we're verifying the other half of that payment by verifying the home buyer. You can see we do have a $15 processing fee. It's free for you guys. It's free for you guys as the escrow holder and the agents, but we do charge the home buyer. We got to make a little bit of money. And that is on average half the cost of a domestic wire transfer. So that's where that price point comes from. You can see that we let them connect their bank account through Plaid. So if you guys have used like Venmo, if you invest with Robinhood, or if you sell through Wells Fargo, pretty much any financial technology app, you can connect your bank account using Plaid. Connects us to those 13,500 banks. It's about 95% of banks here in the US, and allows them to sign in just like that, select their account, and then choose the account that they want the funds to come from. If for some reason your buyer has a bank that is outside of Plaid's network, it does not prevent them from being able to use Earnnest, but they do get filtered into our manual micro deposits process. We've had a lot of buyers ask about that, I understand, in this office. So we even have a video walkthrough on this page, which I'll share with you guys, that'll walk your buyer exactly how to complete that transaction if their bank account isn't connectable through Plaid. But totally safe, same level of security. You can see it's all encrypted, it's tokenized. We don't see or store your buyer's banking information. That's probably the most important thing I want to highlight about this. Even though it is, yeah.
I've seen Plaid ask for a bank account number and password.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be the manual micro
They
deposit.
won't do that.
So
Plaid.
we will not see or store any of that. Plaid will obviously connect you to your bank account. So if you are going to be going through the manual micro deposit process, you would put in your account and routing number. We would send you 2 small deposits, and then you would connect the bank that way. But that's only for buyers whose bank is not in that 13,000 strong network.
Right, but my question is, I've seen Plaid ask for the password to your bank account.
Yeah, so
on certain apps.
normally
They're gonna
how
want
your
that
buyer
too.
would do that is you'd put in your same way you log in on your phone or your computer by putting in your username and password. That's how most people are going to sign in using Plaid. But we also don't see or store any of that information.
Will Plaid have an option of doing it with bank account and routing number only?
You do have an option to choose that option only. Yes, sir. Yep. And that would be this process right here. So you can opt out of doing it the username and password way if you don't feel comfortable sharing that. But again, we do not see or store any of that information. So even though it is theoretically impossible, if someone were to break into Earnnest, your buyer would not be exposed at all. None of their information would be exposed. All we have is their first and last name, their phone number, and their email. And that's the most anybody could ever get access to about your buyer. Great question though. Any other questions, guys? That's the buyer side of the equation.
I do have one.
Yeah.
So we seem to have the buyers are saying that they started that manual verification process, but they're not getting the deposits.
Okay.
Do you know what's happening there? We can't see anything on our end necessarily.
Sure, that's a
so.
great question. It depends on the bank. I'd have to get to know which bank it is. Some banks, guys, are really antiquated in their process and they're pretty much autonomous on what they can choose to do. A bank can straight up refuse to participate in the ACH network if they want to, which is what Earnnest runs off of. So you're gonna run into potentially a bank that is completely opted out of this type of payment altogether. That would be the best. I'd have to look into the actual bank, speak to them and see where they work. Yes.
Is Mountain America part of those banks?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Mountain
what we see
America
to have a
Credit
lot of
Union
issues.
absolutely gives us a ton of trouble.
Okay.
Mountain America Credit Union has a system that is about 100 years out of date. And we are working actively with Plaid and with them to try to bring them in, even just to the last 50 years would be great. We're trying to bring them up to the present, show them the light of the future. But it's been a slow process. So yeah, you can expect to have some issues with Mountain American Credit Union because of how their banking is set up. Yeah, great question. Any other questions, guys, about this buyer side? Yes, sir.
Is that typical to credit unions?
It's not typical to credit unions across the board. I will say that more credit unions than regular banks run into that. But no, it's not like you can expect it with every credit union. I would say it's a smaller minority of credit unions. But if you're going to run into that issue, chances are it's going to be with a credit union. Yes, sir. That's a good question. And for that same reason, right? Credit unions are not mainstream banks. They're typically more of a niche market, and they often haven't seen the need yet to upgrade their banking, back-end software and stuff like that. Is a possibility. Guys, any other questions about this? This is actually the last thing I had to show you guys was the buyer side of the equation. So any meta questions about Earnnest or anything else that I can answer for you? Absolutely.
So you're saying like with Mountain America, it's kind of like hard to process it. Is there a way for the buyer to just cancel that and just give us a cashier's check if it's giving her too much time and you have your deadline before you get it in?
Yeah, absolutely. So our timeline is 1 to 3 business days, just so everyone's aware of that. I think it covered it in there, but from the time your buyer hits pay to when it's deposited into the escrow account is 1 to 3 business days. If in an instance your buyer is like, Mountain America Credit Union is just getting on my nerves, I don't want to do this, there is an option, there's a little trash can that you can just erase that request and it'll disappear. If your buyer has moved to a certain point in the request, we do have you reach out to us and we would remove the transaction for you. The reason we do that is just so nobody accidentally removes a request when the buyer is trying to move the money, because that would create sort of an issue, just a little safety feature. But yes, all of these transactions can be canceled if they haven't been paid yet. If your buyer has already paid and the funds have left their account, there's no pullback, there's no risk of that. We have a very closed system that makes sure that that doesn't happen. But if the buyer is not paid, then yes, it can be removed. Guys, any other questions? Let me see if the chat has any questions in here. None in the chat? Well, that is everything that I have to show you. I did leave some cards over there. I really do appreciate your time. And that's it for me.
Do you guys have any questions for him on the app or anything else?
Yeah.
Yes, Barry?
No, you're good.
That's good.
So, you've got your 4 days to get it in. If they start this process, say they have Mountain America, you have no idea what they're using for their bank. Do you get like a receipt that they started it so that
Yes.
you can make sure that you're good on your end, like they're doing?
Yeah, so you'll be able to see that in our mobile app. You can actually see when they go through each step, and you'll get a request generated receipt via email. And then you'll get another one when they hit pay. So those are the 2 steps you'll get emails for. But again, if you go into the app, you can actually see when they open the request, when they confirm their identity, when they add their bank account, and when they hit pay, all live updated if you want to keep track of it that way.
If we don't get the app, do we get an email so that we can send it into our doc?
Yes, you'll still get the email no matter what. You'll always get the email. Every agent that generates a request always automatically on that email list, but it's just going to be request generated and request paid, and then you'll get the request deposited.
Yeah, I was gonna jump into, we also get those receipts automatically and we will put them in your loops. So when the deposit actually hits, we'll put that record in your loop as well.
just put in the loop, or did you send it to the other agent as well?
No, we just put it in the loop. It would be your responsibility to still send it to the other side.
Unless we're using,
I'm sorry.
unless we're using one.
Sure, yeah, they'll do that for you.
Brianna, do you guys have any questions for Brianna when they're taking earnest money deposits, or if you guys have any other questions? Now's the time, right here. I mean, I know where to find her.
Desk, yeah. I know where I am.
Any other questions for both of them?
All right. Well, thank
Okay,
you, guys.
I'm gonna have Kyle with Edge Homes come up just for a minute for you guys. So please, come on up. Woo! How long have you been with Edge Homes, Jack? I mean, working with Jack.
Yeah, I've been with Edge for 10 years, so a decent amount of time. So Jack Andrews usually comes here. I am teamed up with Jack, so we work together on everything. He's out this week, so I'm just helping cover for him. Wanted to give away some stuff. Does anyone know how many homes Edge sold last year as a company?
6,000.
That would be awesome. But no, we don't do that.
3,500.
That would be awesome too. More than 50.
2,000 homes.
It was somewhere in the realm of 1,600.
Nice. Slammed it, yeah. Yeah, it was, we sold about 1,610 or something. Does anyone know what Edge's goal is for 2022?
2,000.
You say that, 2,000? Yeah. So 2,000 homes. And the only reason I bring that up is not to like toot Edge's horn and be like, hey, Edge is the greatest thing. It's just because we're doing something right, we want you to be a part of that, right? Inventory's low. Edge is releasing 80 units this week between single family, townhome, and condos. And so we want you to be a part of that. We want you to bring homes. We want you to sell 100 of those 2,000, right? So take part of that.
It's super huge, because in 08, you only sold 2 homes.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
so to go from 2 to 2,000 in like 10 years, that's.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And the best part about it is we still pay 3% on the total price of the home. So land the home, so we'll take care of you there. Okay, so most important question of the day. Who won the Bachelor this year?
Oh, man. You're gonna wave us.
Nobody knows that? I don't even know it. So just throw out a name and you can have the card. Brandon says.
Talk about being savvy.
There you go. So, but like I said, Edge is releasing 80 lots, and for the foreseeable future, every single week we release 80 to 100 lots. So between Harriman, Lehigh, Saratoga, have some rivers and stuff coming up. That's where we are.
Now, are these all townhomes? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Is it townhomes or single family?
So both, and condos. So condos starting in the 380, 390 range. Townhomes like 515 to 530, and then single family like low 6s and up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know.
Now she's putting you on it. There you go.
But yeah, so reach out to Jack, reach out to myself. I'll leave some cards here. We work together on everything. But if you have not been through an Edge Home condo model, please make some time to go do that. For that price range of 380 to like 410. Brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They have 9-foot ceilings. They're
What's a
pretty good.
development name we can look up?
So we have them in Lehigh and Timp Point and Gardner Point, in Saratoga Springs called Wildflower, and then soon to be in Harriman and Mountain Ridge.
And these are all the 384 times.
Yeah, right in that range.
That's a great price point
Yeah, it
for
is.
your
We're having
clients.
3 bedrooms.
So make sure you guys take his card and start looking up. Do you guys have them displayed on your guys' website, or how do they get in?
Yeah, so they'll
Okay.
be there, but if you have any questions, like just reach out. I'll leave it here, and then Jack as well. We can send you info and help you out that way.
Okay.
Can you say
Okay.
again what cities those are?
Yeah, Lehigh, Saratoga,
and Harriman.
And then can we be put on a list?
For sure, for sure. Is there a whiteboard?
Oh, yeah,
Hold my
yeah,
card.
no, there is. There is, let's see.
I just need a marker. No, I just put it on this side, so you close that up. So this is my cell phone. If you want to get on our, so we send out a list every week of the homes open and then also quick move-ins that come back. Just send me a text and I'll add to that list. We'll get you on there. So any questions for me?
Did you say 2 baths?
Yes, yep, 3-bed, 2-bath.
I have a couple of questions that they
Yeah.
might be curious to know. How do you guys pay out on commissions?
Yeah.
And the options, how much do they pay and what time frame do they pay it?
Yeah, what are we paying commissions?
3%.
Yeah, you were turned around when we were
Oh,
talking.
sorry,
about this, yeah.
my bad.
So yeah, 3% options on a condo, they don't pay anything extra on options, but a townhome or single family, typically 20% of whatever options they
Okay,
pay.
and how far in? Like when?
Pretty much right up front.
Right up front?
So they'll
Okay.
pay 500 up front, then they'll go to the design studio and they'll pay a construction deposit, which is 5,000 or 2,000 if they use First Colony, that's our preferred lender. And then 20% of their options that they pick from there. So still not crazy. So if someone did 30 grand in options, they pay another 6 grand, they could be under 10 in total deposits and build a $600,000 or $700,000 home. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Because people are different when it comes to options and sometimes clients don't know that and they're like, we didn't know we had to be out
Yeah,
20
exactly.
grand or so, you know, along with the earnest money deposit. So that's good to know.
yeah. You want to be aware of that? Yeah.
If someone picks up a lot, what's the current time frame to complete?
I plan on like 9 to 11 months. Yeah. So I know you guys love waiting 9 to 11 months to get paid, right? But we will make that the best 9 to 11 months you've ever had, okay? But yeah, that's typical. But we do have quick movements come back. Like this week, we had 2 townhomes in Harriman, 2 in Lehigh, 6 condos in Lehigh that are finished, ready to go.
So I'm guessing they're probably because the interest rate, they can no longer afford.
It just depends. One of them was an investor. He bought like 15 and decided to not close on the last 5. And some are interest rates. Yeah, it just depends. Yeah.
I don't know why an investor would close. I mean, you got built-in equity.
Yeah, I
on
don't
those.
know either. So, but
Hey,
okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
so much.